So currently there's the biggest esports drama in League of Legends history happening. Let's see what it is.
If you don't know, LCS is the shorthand for the North American League of Legends scene. LCS is in turmoil, and there are three major parties causing this turmoil.
Okay.
The first one is Riot Games, the creator of League of
It's all probably Tyler 1. I am already placing my money on Tyler 1 being the root cause of everything in League of Legends.
Legends. The second one are the 10 team owners, the TSMs, the Team Liquids of the world, who make up the LCS. And the final one are the 50-plus players, the player association, that make up all of the team's players, the people who actually play the goddamn game really, really well. And I should preface this, if you don't watch League, that it is not doing great in North America. It is not a wonderful time to be an LCS fan because viewership is way, way down. This is over the past 5+ years. You can see that the number not going up, it going down.
Ooh, that's big. Look at this. This is more than a 50% drop. Well, slightly more, but still. But this is to be expected. I'm gonna give you the rough summary of League of Legends as an esport. It's an absolute objective failure. Yes, it's an interesting failure because it's watched by literal multiple millions of people every time the big event happens, and that's absolutely amazing, you would think. But the reality is it's a lot of people, but when we consider that League of Legends is played monthly by tens of millions of people, and their history is being in the, well, literal hundreds of millions of player-based people, the numbers are not really that good. It's objectively a failed esports, even though it has millions of people watching. And the reason for that is very simple, by the way. Why the viewership just drops. Because who wants to watch a game where nothing happens? The average first blood in League of Legends is like 10 minutes in or something. It's absolutely insane. League of Legends competitive play rewards safe play above everything else. If you're taking a risk, you are objectively throwing the game, pretty much. It's insanity.
And that usually means bad things. 640K was peak in 2017, and they are down to 270K in their most recent spring split finals. These are not good numbers, but it does not mean League as a whole is dying. It's sometimes memed as a dead game, but the viewership for their big Super Bowl event, the Worlds event, was better than ever last year. Peaked at 5.1 million viewers. I don't know how much I necessarily trust that number, but I do know it is on the up as a whole. So League across the world, great. League in North America, not so great. Why?
That's most likely, by the way, only exclusively because of China. League of Legends is a super big thing in China. Like, you can become 12 and say, I want to be a professional League of Legends player, and your Chinese family is going to be, thank the stars our child said the golden words. Yeah, that's not a joke.
Why is that? Well, if I'm being frank, they're dog shit. Compared to the rest of the world, they're dog shit. They're way better than me. They are professional gamers at their core, but they had their worst performance ever at Worlds. They went 3-15, and the best they have ever performed on the global stage against Europe, against China, against Korea, some of the better regions.
But they still lost
to the semifinals. They've never gotten to the finals, and they've never won the World Championship. They've just gotten to the semifinals.
At this point, it's literally Tyler 1 just holding the whole of America on his shoulders. He's the only reason Americans even know what League of Legends is. God bless.
And all of that has made a bit of a drought in LCS in terms of viewership, new players, and all that good stuff that helps a thriving esport grow. And because things aren't doing so well, there have been requests for some changes. Specifically, there was a request recently from the 10 teams who all signed to remove the mandate to have an NACL team. And it's at this point I should explain to you that every single team who has an LCS spot, a major league spot, also needs to have a minor league spot, aka an NACL team. And much like baseball, these are farm teams. It's not like your minor league team moves up to the major leagues. You just hope to cultivate young North American talent in the minor leagues that can promote them to the major leagues once they've reached a good spot of learning how to play with the pros. That's kind of the idea. But it hasn't super worked well. I'm being kind of nice here. It hasn't worked at all. There's not a lot of young, new NA talent. Most really good NA.
Do you think he got banned off of every nearby playground? because this is kind of, it's staring me right in the face. And I don't like it, and I'm not even a young child, so, wow. Questions.
Teams are good because they've imported players from other regions. That's just the reality of the situation. And so there has been a mandate that every major league team has to have a minor league team, and the teams are saying, oh, it's too expensive to have a major league team and a minor league team. Can we just have our major league team, please? And Riot Games said, yeah.
No.
You know what?
Yes?
We thought about it, and we will eliminate the mandate to have a minor league team, an NACL team, starting with summer 2023. This request came in literally May 6th
insane.
and May 12th. A week later, they're like, let's do it. Bang, let's do it.
Wow.
Very, very quick turnaround, which
unexpected.
is fucked up. Because on the side, Riot Games was talking to the LCS Player Association, all the players that make up the major leagues, and they said that they won't do anything to the NACL until 2024. We'll have to discuss some changes, but we promise it's not going to be till 2024. Not only that, but we'll also make sure you're at the table when we have those discussions. That's not how it played out at all. Riot went ahead with acquiescing to the requests of the teams without actually contacting any of the player association. And the player association was pretty upset about that because they were supposed to be at least a part of the table when decisions like this were made.
Obviously,
and so what did they do in response
sense.
to that? Well, they decided to have a vote for a walkout. Something that has never been done, as far as I'm aware, in esports history, where all of the players would not appear for the start of the summer split, which is the most important split because the winners of the summer split get the chance to compete in Worlds, the most prestigious event, I would argue, in esports, maybe with the exception of the international, but definitely up there, a huge event.
Oh boy. So, walkouts are very interesting things. So, the smart people are gonna actually consider it in a way their options is a walkout good. How pissed is going to be the company if you walk out? So maybe some people wanted to walk out here, but they stayed because they understood that their good boy points are going to be huge for not doing it. So this is a whole drama situation in on its own that we probably will not know anything about for a very, very long time. But wow, this is probably real life drama for these guys. Big
event that nobody wants to miss. So they decided to walk out, skip the start, which was supposed to be tomorrow, this Thursday. And that vote happened, and it overwhelmingly passed. This is not a decision LCS players have come to lightly. Countless discussions and debates were had.
They're not individual. Okay, I get it. This is an organization of players, but they vote on things, and if the vote passes, everyone does it. That's so lame. That reduces the drama
between all LCS players in the week leading up to this historic vote, and so that was their call. We are not going to show up for our games. And not only that, they had a list of 5 asks for Riot Games, 5 things that they wanted to talk about before they would consider going back to play. And their asks of Riot was to institute a Valorant-style promotion relegation between the LCS and the NACL. So rather than the baseball-style Major League, Minor League, where you're using the minor league teams as farm teams to get Major League talent, you want basically relegation systems, like how soccer works in the UK, or how the current Valorant system, like they've spoken here.
How literally any sport works in Europe. And Americans don't understand this, obviously. So they're like, how a Valorant team does it.
Works. Where if a team performs really poorly, they get kicked out. They go to the minor leagues. And if a minor league team performs really well, they go to the major leagues. What else did they want? They wanted a commit of a revenue pool for player salaries of $300K per team. Basically remove the burden from the teams to pay for all these players and give the burden to Riot Games.
300K per team. That means that you have 5 players, maybe an extra. I don't know how that works, honestly. Maybe you have an extra, so that's maybe 6. And you have a coach, which is 7. 7 people on 300K. Plus, they probably don't pay for your lodging expenses, for your travel expenses, for your gear, for the team house, for the psychologists, because, it's League of Legends. That's not the worst, because keep in mind, they are gonna be getting additional income, through other means at that time. So it's not the worst, but definitely Riot's trying to be on the cheap side for this.
They wanted to allow LCS orgs to partner with affiliates for cost sharing, which I think just means like, hey, if the team can't afford it, maybe they partner with someone who can.
Because, oh, by the way, they are asking this from Riot, but 300k is like, that just tells me they don't want to push it. They don't want to push it because they most likely very much understand that more is not going to be granted.
Then they asked for Riot to guarantee LCS minimum contracts for the following year for the 5 players who won the LCS Summer Finals. Basically, if they won, give them a little bone. They want give Dog a bone for winning.
Yeah,
and then the final one was instituting a 3/5 roster continuity rule to provide players on released NACL rosters first priority in maintaining their slot in the upcoming NACL season if a majority continue to compete together. Which I think is a long-winded way of saying, hey, can it be the players' decision to stick together and not the team's decisions to stick together? Please, if most of them want to stick together. And that was their big asks. And Riot during all of this initially...
By the way, what's very funny about esports in general, it's the fact that, for example, let's say Team Liquid wins the summer whatever big Riot Games championship thingamajiggy. They win it. And guess what? The team breaks up after that. But it's Team Liquid that won, not the individual players. So the individual players don't have a free pass to the next year, but Team Liquid does because it won it, not the players. Which is a very interesting thing and happens in a lot of type of different situations.
Initially, didn't really respond to the asks. They responded to the walkout. They were really concerned that the summer split wasn't going to start because although LCS in North American League is not growing and is not the biggest and is not the best, it is the flagship of all League of Legends esports. It's what kicked everything off. Before there was LEC, European or Chinese or Korean league teams in competitions, there was North American League competitions. That's all there was at a certain point. So I think it holds a level of prestige that some of the other regions don't because of that, although that prestige is quickly fading. And so what did they want to do? They wanted to ensure that tomorrow's date, Thursday, the summer split would actually start. So they allowed teams to sign players outside the window when they normally would. And this broke live on stream when Travis Gafford leaked some of the other decisions Riot was making.
For multiple sources.
Breaking news alert.
Within an hour of the show starting, that Riot is officially suspending the requirements to play in the LCS. So now you can be of any rank, and you can play from anywhere. You can play from home even.
Oh, I heard about
Thursday,
that.
If you
Congratulations! Now finally the bronze players will claim their LCS trophy because every bronze player deep down understands and knows for a fact that they are the best player in the world, and it's just their team holding them back. So, how the tides are gonna turn now that the bronze players are gonna take the trophy home, it's gonna be insane.
You would like to be a pro player. So you, I, Mark, Phil, we're all eligible to compete in the LCS.
Tyler 1 is just gonna hire 4 homeless people and single-handedly win LCS. Guaranteed. Okay? There's no other timeline.
At this time.
That is a huge bomb that Travis just dropped. Basically, the players are saying, hey, we are striking until you meet or talk to us about our list of asks. And Riot Games in return said, hey teams, you can sign literally anybody with a heartbeat. Just get 5 fuckers on that stage so we can start our goddamn summer split. Which is crazy.
Yeah,
this is the equivalent of coal mine workers going on strike and then the coal mine company going to their nearest high school and saying, hey kids, I've always heard you're yearning for what we do. I think it's fair to say that League of Legends competition should be kept to the professionals and that Riot Games should not be going around the professionals to try to get any heartbeat on stage just to ensure that their competition will start on their timeline.
Say what you will. Yeah, maybe bronze players are not going to be professionals, but you know what's the brutal, deep, dark reality? Watching those bronze players fight on the Rift is gonna be way more entertaining than watching any two competitive teams duke it out in League of Legends, because it's gonna be wild. We're not gonna have to wait 10 minutes for first blood and 10 more minutes for second blood, and then 2 minutes after that the game ends. Nah, bruh, it's gonna be wild.
And boy, was the Player Association not happy with that. The LCSPA has been aware for over a week of attempts to require teams to field scab players at the start of the season. We continue to actively reach out to players outside the LCS with a clear and simple message. Do not play for any LCS org as a replacement player. This is a walkout to benefit all league players in America. Crossing the line puts all players' futures at risk.
LCS, there's the drama.
NACL and amateur. Crossing the line undermines.
Because when you boycott, there's going to be someone who has an opportunity because you left and to fill your shoes. That's so great. This is what I love.
It's player negotiating power. And if you have agreed to be a replacement contract, please contact us to navigate your situation. Basically, hey, don't cross our picket fence. We are trying hard to help everybody. And it seems like the Players Association call to not cross the picket fence worked, because yesterday, Riot Games announced that they were going to delay the start of the summer split for 2 more weeks. Nobody's going to be playing League of Legends this coming Thursday. The pro scene is not going to start.
Okay.
But they also responded to the 5 requests from the Player Association. Starting with the first one, which I thought had the most legs, which was instituting a Valorant-style promotion relegation between the majors and the minor leagues. And they said
it makes
expanding
so
the
much
league
sense.
in order to implement a Valorant-style visitor slot.
For example, in Dota, to qualify for TI, you actually need to get a certain amount of points to get into it, because those points mean that you have you have technically outperformed every other team to get in there. So it makes a lot of sense. Why does League of Legends not have that? I don't know. Well, it took them 50 trillion years to implement 5 bans instead of 3? Because they just didn't want to do the same thing as Dota? Oh, 5 bans, that's the way, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's a wild world out there.
System would run counter to our existing partnership model with the 10 LCS teams who paid 10 mil per slot to compete in the league. It would dilute LCS teams' equity and put considerable downward pressure on the amount of revenue, our league rev pool, that we share with the teams. More teams in the pool would dilute the revenue that we share 50% with our teams under the partnership model. Given the challenging macroeconomic climate, expanding the league is not a good idea at this time.
Wait, does it actually expand the league? Because if you can be thrown in or out of it... Oh, if they have to pay 10 mil per slot. Oh, that's complicated in that case. If I understand this correctly.
My take on this, the teams have too much power, and Riot fucked up when they first started LCS. They tried to correct their mistake when they made Valorant's league, which I think is a very healthy system. In fact, I think they should probably have more teams get relegated, because their current rate makes it a little bit slow for a minor league team like our Moist Moguls to make it to the franchised major leagues. It's only
Good
one
luck.
team
It's probably
from
not
all of North
happening.
and South America per year. It's not very fast, but it is better than League, where there's no chance to go to the major leagues. And for a long time, it feels like teams in League of Legends have used their spot in League of Legends as a speculative asset. It's like owning a house in esports. They hope that the esport grows, they hold their spot that they bought for 10 mil, and then they sell it for a lot more millions later on. This is exactly what Misfits did when they sold their League of Legends spot over in Europe for allegedly over $25 million, which is crazy. That's crazy how much value they're able to gain, and because of that, the teams...
And again, the fact is that maybe it's bought by someone who's actually shit, There's a possibility of it. The barrier of entry is it's high because people understand, there's no reason to be in it unless you're kind of good and a competitor, but at the same time, anyone can technically make it in as long as they got the spot.
They just hold all the power. And I don't want to call anyone out, but it doesn't make any goddamn sense to me that you can have a team like Dignitas, who bought their team from Clutch Gaming in 2020, be this consistently dogshit with 0 repercussions. They have barely ever made playoffs. They're consistently the bottom of the leaderboard. And once in 2022, they made the playoffs with a 1-3 record, only to get eliminated by Team Liquid. And then in the summer season...
admittedly, I did say that, yeah, stuff like this can happen, but I'll give you the counterpoint for this, because there's no shot that this guy does. So, the counterpoint for it is they are still playing in the highest bracket of skill. So, chances are, if anyone who is a competitor to this bracket, and when I say competitor, I mean this kind of competitor, plays against the lowest team in the highest bracket, they're gonna get squished, okay? Because the skill distribution in the highest levels of play is not close in a lot of cases. Like, the number one position, skill-wise, is somewhere here, while the last team in position is somewhere here, and the middle teams are somewhere here. This is the skill gap difference between the first and the lowest teams. And, the skill gap difference between the number 1 and 2 teams is also pretty large. So, yeah, maybe they're consistently shit. But chances are they can still absolutely perform and demolish anyone who tries to be a contender to them outside this league. That is also a very high possibility.
And what do? They went 3
But it's a bad
15.
system no matter what.
All right, and what do they do in the most recent season, the spring 2023 season? Oh, a
0-15.
back-to-back 3-15. A rare double dog shit performance. And there is no punishment.
I mean, he says this, but I can already see Immortals, which is a team I have literally never, by the way, heard about. And they went 4-14. You know? You kind of see how this goes. It's from the lowest, and the highest is the reverse. Then there's the middle. You see the skill gap, right? This already shows you the absolute skill gap that I just mentioned. Cloud9, 14-8. FlyQuest, no idea what that even is. 14-8. Okay? And this was concluded, it looks like. Yeah, the finals, GG. Where's GG? Can't see anyone named GG. Oh, GG got... No, oh no, they got squashed by C9 3-1. Okay. So yeah. Oh, this is the lower bracket. Oh, they have a lower bracket. Good, good, good. That's actually good. Lower brackets are good. They're interesting, Again, if you want a competitive esports and you want to make it good, just literally copy everything Dota does. It's... Dota! I know I'm going to piss off a bunch of League fanboys, but Dota is a successful esports, okay? Because Dota gets more viewers than there are players playing that game. And that's constantly. Yeah. So, that's a successful esport for a lot of reasons. And why? Because it's interesting. On average, like, every minute, there's a kill and a half in Dota. That's fun. That's interesting. There's always some kind of activity. But in any case, yeah, you can see how the top teams are ridiculously just outperforming everyone else. Because this is the way the format works. There's no way this doesn't happen.
Rare double dogshit performance, and there is no punishment for that at all. There's no expectation that they need to get better, because if they don't, then they'll get relegated and somebody else will take their spot. They're just able to be dogshit in perpetuity, and eventually, if the league scene grows, sell their spot for more than they bought it for. That's
Good.
just the current system, and I don't think they have the power to change it as a whole.
They don't want to change it.
Even though that exists, they should be adding new slots. I understand that it would dilute the pool because they do get between, I think it's been reported, $1.5 to $3 million from the league revenue pool, and they would have to share that with another spot. But I don't know. I think that's fine.
Well, if you have 10 teams sharing that is not the hugest technical loss.
I think they should be sharing it. I think there should be some sort of sweat from the teams and culpability to perform.
Also, let's be real. Riot is making so much more money. Every time a tournament is won, a new skin set is released, and those players are getting literally rich, not off of the winnings of the tournament, but off the skin sales. Because this I know for a fact. A good skin that literally may take just as little as 1 week to make if, the artist is in the mood, in the zone, and lucky. It's gonna make 50 mil. One skin is gonna make 50 mil for a popular champion. So they have no trouble covering this cost, considering developing a skin is not the most money-intensive thing.
Perform at a high level. That's the whole point of a thriving competitive ecosystem, is that teams feel pressure to perform well. And this isn't like the NFL or the NBA, where the dogshit teams get to draft first to get the best upcoming talent. Because there is no real good upcoming talent in North America. Teams often get better by spending out their ass to get teams from Europe, China, or Korea. Okay, what about the other points? Well, Riot talked about the ask that you pay the 5 people who won the minor league summer finals, and they said, that's not really sustainable. And then what about the 3/5 continuity rule, where players...
This is why Americans invented American football. Because, man, you guys really needed to be the best at something, so you invented something that no one else wants to play. So you can be the best at it. Wow. Congratulations on your first, second, and third place in a sport that literally only you play.
Get to play together if they want to without the teams having control over it. And they said, we want to give power to the teams. So in this conversation, it seems like Riot Games has decided in LCS to give all the power to the teams, which I think creates an imbalance of power between teams and players. I think there's too much power in teams, and I don't think they're doing good with their power, and I think they are the reason that LCS is crumbling as a whole. And Riot should reverse that by giving more power to players. And again, I think Riot knows this because they fixed all the mistakes they made setting up their League competitive ecosystem when they set up their Valorant competitive ecosystem. The players do have a lot of power because 5 people can straight up get into the minor leagues without a team at all. And from there, they have the ability to get to the major leagues. We've seen that with people like Turtle Troop, who are 1 game away from making it to the playoffs for a chance to compete to make it to the major leagues. That's crazy. And they don't have a team that represents them. That is a lot of power that players hold that they cannot hold.
A long time ago, man, Alliance was the same in Dota. A team just came in from nowhere, literally no representment, no management, just 5 guys. They won TI. They just literally won TI. And then we're one of the most strongest teams for like 2 games in a row. So... 2 years in a row. So, stuff like this is actually really cool also for viewers. Some underdog that literally no one expected just rips out from their cage and starts taking names. It's a great experience. You literally do not know when the ride stops.
In League of Legends. Now you can read the rest of the article to see what Riot said about all the asks from the Player Association, but the skinny of it is no. No across the board to every single thing they asked for. Not only no, but if you don't get your teams and your players to get on that stage in 2 weeks, we've already delayed it, we're not going to delay it again, we will cancel the summer split as a whole. Not only will we cancel the summer split, but we will cancel North America's attendance into Worlds. You guys won't even be able to go to the Super Bowl.
Will anyone miss them? They're a joke! Why would anyone care that North America is not represented in whatever? They're a joke. Just make it faster so it's a little bit more interesting. Not just wait until every other region gets a chance to whip America down the drain. Come on. Just do them the favor and just cancel their region. Do a solid for American fans because they can't take the heartbreak anymore. They're always so pumped, but nothing happens. Unless Tyler 1 decides that he wants to win the LCS and the World Championship alone, America has no shot, okay?
If you don't listen to our requests to play. That's it, plain and simple. Now, there do seem to be some conversations and negotiations that have opened up between the Player Association and Riot Games, which hopefully creates some amicable solution. But they got a problem over at Riot Games headquarters, and I think the solution is actually allow teams to join from the minor leagues. I think that's it. I think full stop.
Well, that's it. Anyway, pretty interesting, pretty funny. I love these kinds of things because they're always entertaining. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment down below, and have a nice day. I'm out. Bye.